So we will call to order the January 18, 2024 meeting of the Green Bay Housing Authority proper GBHA Properties 1 Incorporated. It is 11:05. We've got roll call. So the first item would be approval of the agenda. You have a copy of the agenda in your packet. Are there any additions or corrections or modifications? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve? We have a motion and I will second. All in favor of approval of the agenda signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item D, approval of the minutes. We have in front of you the minutes from the November 9, 2023 meeting of GBHA Properties 1 Incorporated. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Second. All right, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor of approval of the November 9th, 2023 meeting minutes, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None, motion carries. Moving on to regular business. Number 1, annual meeting of GBHA Properties 1 Incorporated.
And I guess as our annual meeting, we can talk about the fact we've basically sold our houses at home. We maintain the land ownership. We're going through a remodel. Our developer is here, has joined us at the meeting to talk about what we're actually looking at. We're touching, I think, a little to every house for the most part, right, for our scattered sites. They each have done individually, and whatever their needs are for the house will be done as part of this project as well, as part of Mason Island.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Wonderful.
Motion, we need a motion to open the floor.
Oh,
Yep.
sorry.
We have a motion. I will second. All in favor of opening the floor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Floor is open.
Wonderful. So, yeah, Happy New Year, and amazing that as Paul indicated, that we got this closed, and the staff, the GBHA was just phenomenal, and almost getting abused by our investor and our lender on questions, and abused by me in terms of making them answer all of them. So I really appreciate everyone's cooperation and all you guys being extremely engaged in this process. The scattered sites have been probably, we always say it's the tail wagging the dog, with the dog being Mason Manor, but it is still a very, very important part of the project. And what we've been doing is, since closing, is really kind of taking each home and putting a scope together unique to each home. And unfortunately, we really didn't have the time to do that before we closed. We almost had kind of a universal scope. Now we're going to convince our investor and our lender to kind of narrow the scope, which, to be honest with you, should save us a lot of money, which would be great, and we could allocate it to other things. But that's a process, and there's no guarantee how that process unfolds. We think we have a good plan in terms of how to present those changes, but they will be changes that everyone will, it's all going to be within the scope. It's just a matter of, hey, the GBHA laid this floor down 3 years ago. It's 100% fine. Why are we replacing it? That kind of stuff. It's not like we're going to cheapen anything that we wanted to do. It's just really common sense type of limit of scope. And really it's to the convenience of the residents, because really, we have this kind of universal rule that everybody's moving out for 3 days. Well, not like I've been through these homes twice. Long ago, they were in immaculate condition. They still are. So it's like there was one home that we saw, which I won't mention which one it was. It was a little bit suspect, but it really was a cosmetic thing, to be honest with you. The actual structure of the home was fine. And so how can we get done what we need to get done for the homes that's consistent with the scope we agreed to, but has minimal effect on the residents, so we don't disrupt their lives more than we need to. And that's kind of what our scope is, what our purpose is right now, is just to define that scope. And then this is for properties one. So I'll just leave that comment there on the scattered sites if you guys have any questions.
Question? No. All right.
Yeah, you wanna close the floor?
Is there a motion to close the floor? I'll make that motion. We got a second. All in favor of closing the floor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. So back to the annual meeting portion of this. And in the packet, we've got some financial documents, and we definitely want to go through those for us.
It was the financial statements. We did very well up through December. We actually have more income than expenses. And that's kind of where we will stay, since not much will be running through here. We will continue to probably see interest on the cash that we have. That will probably be the only change that will go through here in the next couple of years, unless we bring something like a project that they would partially fund.
Question, we just looked at the audit here. We're gonna be looking at an audit of this at some point.
That is actually in this audit report.
Oh, it is,
They-
okay.
yeah.
Incorporated in there?
Yeah, they looked at it with that, so.
Okay, did they have any thoughts on whether that should be separated?
Well, this whole next year will be fun and exciting, because this will be probably they extended our audit engagement for one more year. Because I don't know, I'll have to talk with them to find out if we'll continue to need an actual audit, because we are not actually doing public housing.
Okay,
We're keeping the housing authority open, so we'll still need to do something, but we may be able to go down to a review, which is just looking at what they have and not actually doing a full audit, because we won't be doing public housing. But that's a next year.
next year. All right. Yeah, I was just curious. in
You're
case-
about to review our bylaws. Do we need to follow up with modifications to either of them regarding functionality? I mean, they're referenced, in bylaws reference an annual audit, right?
Most of them do, yeah, yeah.
So, but, and that's, a review is done by an audit firm,
Yeah.
but it just is not a full audit. So it's,
Understood, and I mean, oh, good, yeah, I'm just, there's some kind of version of formality.
Yeah. We have to check into that.
Yeah, I feel like we've been working with Paul a lot. We've been reviewing all those documents. So I'm thinking that it might be, but we certainly can follow up. This is a lot of transition.
Yeah, we may have to modify the bylaws to.
Well, that's all I may ask about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bunch of lawyers at the table.
But again, so if somebody was looking for specifics regarding GBHA properties.
it would also be in here.
Yeah, well, I understand that, but that's why I'm wondering if maybe it should be separated, so we could say. Here it is, instead of, it's in here.
Well, it's in here because it's a business entity of the
Yeah.
Green Bay Housing Authority.
Right.
Just as the COCC, which is the
Okay.
Central Office Cost Center, is a business entity
Okay.
of the Green Bay Housing Authority. Mason Manor and Scattered Sites were the only public housing entities. Otherwise, we also had the revenue bonds, which was a business entity of the housing authority. So that's why it could be all rolled into one, because it was a business entity of the parent unit.
Okay.
I did have to fill out a bunch of paperwork with the auditors
Yeah.
to say that it was a component unit of the entity.
Okay.
So,
So, with, as this is shifting over, as we go down the road, we get future requests like the folks on the unions. And the things that's gonna still go through.
GBHA would have the majority of the money, but they could always petition the properties one that does have some funding.
Okay.
taken off. of-
So would they come to the housing authority and then we could look at our funding sources as to which one we would pull it out of?
Mhm.
Cause I want to, I certainly think we should be able to still continue that ability to help finance
Mhm.
other housing projects in the area, so.
Yep.
I just want to know whether we have a protocol. Continue to be done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the funds are still available to us, we're just. Right now, we've got some other things that we're focusing on.
Right.
Okay, so our, jumping back to where we were, any questions on the budget for GBHA Properties Inc. that's in our report? In our agenda? Okay, hearing none. Let's see. Okay, so the next item is election of chair, vice chair, and secretary.
So I just want to add, I did reach out to Terry
Yes.
because she couldn't make the meeting today on her interest in the vice chair.
Okay.
He chose to pass on.
Okay.
She would prefer not to be chair.
Okay.
So I just want to, nominate someone who's next.
Okay.
So,
Well, yeah, that's good. I was gonna say just re-elect the same board. but
right,
We gotta find a,
vice chair.
Stop it. It's fine.
I like Steve. Should we do this as a slate? Can we?
Yeah, let's do it as a slate.
Nominate, well, someone, let's see, Sandy, would you entertain a motion to nominate Bill Vandercastle as chair, Steve Rubus as vice chair, and I think I'm the secretary?
Yes.
Me as the secretary?
You're muted, Sandy.
I realized that after I started talking. Absolutely. I'll entertain that motion, Cheryl, just like you said it.
Right. I'll second it.
Okay.
We have a motion and a second to approve a slate of officers. Are there any additional questions, comments, thoughts, observations? Otherwise, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, we have a slate of officers. Small group to pick from here.
Fine to have a small group and think about it. For the movie.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So we are moving on to informational occupancy report.
As of this week, we only have one scattered site that is vacant, and I believe Casey is doing them in monthlies up for February or March 1st, so we will. 1444 University Avenue.
Any questions? All right, next on the agenda is public hearings.
Yeah, I don't know why that's on there.
Okay, we have no
There's no
public
public.
hearings. All right. Next item is adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn? I will make that motion. Is there a second? Second. All right, motion to adjourn. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? We are adjourned.